Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? It's THEMOSHOW Chicago, and we are back again with another episode of We Got That Smoke with the brother minister Louis Farrakhan. For all of you black men, black women that's out there, make sure you listen to this video and digest what the brother is saying. We're gonna jump right in this piece. Enjoy.
Question is, have you heard the warning? See, the Quran goes like this. Did not my reminder come to you? Did not my reminder come to you? Did you not hear a caller from among you inviting you to the truth? You heard it while you partied. You heard it while you played. You did hear. So the judgment has to deal with, did you hear? And how did you respond? You know America is wicked, and you know white people have been evil in their mistreatment of dark people all over the earth. So if God's judgment comes down on America, what do you have to say about it? Do you think God is unjust? If he says he want to save you, why don't you want to be saved? Now I'm going to show you how wicked the enemy is in his plans against you. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and it's become a habitation of demons, and a hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. See, this modern Babylon is doing what? She's falling, brother. Her money falling. Come on now. Her money falling. You that love to kill each other for paper, in a few days you'll see this piled up in the streets. No value to it at all. You that would slaughter another human being for the face of a dead white man. You that would sell your virtue for this, so you could have things and lose who and what God made you to be. Babylon is fallen, and look, she's become a hole of every foul spirit. You walk down the street, how's the spirit of the people? Look, mother, get off my car, nigga, get it louder. That's what you hear. This is among you, among white folk. It may not have that same thing, but it's low down and foul. They plot the takeover of governments and nations. Plot how to use food as a weapon to starve people and force them to bow down to policies and programs that are not good. A hold of every foul spirit and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. You know what an unclean bird is? An unclean bird is like a raven, a vulture, buzzard. You know, they live off the decaying flesh of others. This is what America has become. A house filled with foul-spirited, unclean, hateful people that feed from the decaying flesh of each other. Now, as trouble breaks out for white folk all over the world, you see them running, getting out of Africa, getting out of Asia, unclean, hateful birds. They fly into Europe, fly into America. America got her Statue of Liberty, opening the door for European immigrants. to come in, and when they come, they're full of hate because they lost their possession in Africa, in the Caribbean. They run to America, and they look at you with hate because your brother over there drove them out. So America has become a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Mystery Babylon gonna burn. Oh man, well, let's get into it now. Y'all all right? Now listen, brothers and sisters, I want to make a few simple points here on the Day of Atonement, the Sabbath day, and the Day of Judgment. In the Old Testament, the Jews have a Day of Atonement, and it's the highest holy day in the Jewish calendar. And those who are Hebrews, whether they're black or white, observe that holy day. That Day of Atonement was a sign. Not the real thing, it was a sign of something. I'm going to say it again. The Day of Atonement practiced by Jews or Hebrews all over the world is a sign of something much bigger. The Sabbath that you practice, that 24-hour period from sundown on the day of the 6th, the night of the 6th, to sundown on the 7th day is your Sabbath. And you do that once a week. That's not the real Sabbath. That's a sign. All right? Let me explain. You see, the Caucasian was given 6 days. So when Moses came, he gave them a reminder of their doom. He said, now 6 days you do your work, but in the 7th day you rest. That is a holy day that must be consecrated to God. So if you look at most of us who are Christians or Jews, we would work for 6 days and we would kind of raise a lot of hell, you know, do what you want to do 6 days. And when I was young, on the night of the 6th day, which if you were a Jew, it would be Friday evening going into Saturday. If you're a Christian, it's Saturday evening going into Sunday. Saturday night, Mom would get the children and we all would have to bathe and get washed up and get cleaned up. This was a long time ago. We only took a bath once a week on them days. Or if we only could take a bath once a week this time, that'd be some tough stuff around here. But on that night, Mama would get your clothes ready for church on Sunday. And you get your suit ready and your shirt and your clean underwear. And then when Sunday morning came, it was a whole different atmosphere in the house. The family gathered. There was more talk of righteousness, you know, and family matters. And you'd get ready to go to church to attend Sunday school, then Sunday service, then you'd come back in the evening for your vesper service or whatnot. But all of that was just a sign. A sign of what? See, a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. So what God was giving them through Moses was this. You got 6,000 years, white folk, to raise hell on this earth. But in the 7,000th year, and this is why you have a group of people called the Seventh-day Adventists, who believe that God would come in the 7th day or the 7,000th year from Adam. So now, what you call the day, the Sabbath, is really 1,000-year period where the whole earth would be cleansed from the work of Satan. And it starts on the coming of the Mahdi and the Messiah, or God's presence in the world. Then that millennium begins. That Sabbath begins. So you're being called now to come out of the 6-day work of this enemy. Take off the old man, put on the new man. Take off the old clothes of an old world of lies and deceit and put on a clean garment of truth and righteousness. Come out of her. Now you ain't gonna be here 1,000 years. But the work of the Sabbath has already begun. It is the day when healing takes place. Okay? What did 6 days of living under white folk make out of us? Do you think we need some healing? I mean, look, just look at yourself. We're not what we should be. Why aren't we? We've been under Satan. So the work of Jesus and the work of the Sabbath is the same work. That's why the Jews didn't agree with Jesus. They said, look, Jesus, you say you're a Jew, but look at what you're doing. You're doing some work on the Sabbath. You should not work on the Sabbath. He said, what man having a donkey that falls in the ditch wouldn't pull him out on the Sabbath day? And then in Mark it says, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. What does that mean? The 7th day was made for you, the original man, to clean up, to get up from the dust of the white man's world. Shake the dust off, man. Shake the shackles off and become like unto God. This is the day, listen. This is the day that was made to get you up. But the white man is not, he's not made for this day. This is the day that he rests. He is to die. In this 1,000-year period, he is to die. And the only way he can escape it is if he's born again. And I don't mean going back into the womb of black people, but his mind has to be destroyed and a new mind be put in him. And otherwise, all of them are sentenced to death. Every white man on the earth. No. Listen. Because that could be your mother. They're all under the death sentence. And you are under that sentence too. Because you've become just like them. You just a black white man. Did you hear what I said? You ain't no black man. You're a white man in black skin because your mind has been so destroyed. The mark mark of the beast is in your forehead. You think like the white man. And you act like the white man. He don't have to kill you today. You do the job. You so filled with hatred for your own black self that it don't mean nothing to you to pick up a weapon to kill your own black brother. And you laugh as you smoke each other. You the white man. But you a grafted white man. You a devil. You a black devil. Playing with God. Devils in the church. Devils in the mosque. Hell raisers. This is you. You ain't no good. And unless you change, the sentence of death is on us all. Before I leave today, I'm gonna make you to know that you will not be alive too much longer unless you make a change. That white dress ain't gonna save you. That bow tie is not gonna save you. Wearing the Quran, holding the Bible ain't gonna save a damn soul. You either gonna change and do right or die like you are. But death is in America now. It's what I come to tell you today, and you won't hear from me no more for a while, but I'm putting it on your mind. And you'll never be able to say I didn't tell you. You playing with God. And he's sick of you and me and us. Now, here you have a day of atonement. It's like the Sabbath. 24-hour period? No. It's a period of time that you got, and you don't have much longer. You got to get it together. It's a time, brothers, when you got to, sisters, where you got to admit that you're off course. I'm wrong, God. You got to say like the prodigal son, Father, I have sinned. And I'm no longer worthy to be called your own. You gotta confess, black man, that you're wrong. And you gotta make it right. And you ain't got a long time. You playing with women, making them pregnant, running away from responsibility. Did you ever think you're gonna have to pay for that? You gang banging and killing your people. Did you ever think you were gonna have to pay for that? Did you think you got away smoking your brother? The white man don't give a damn, but there's a God that does. There's a God that does. The Day of Atonement is now. It's not a one day. You gotta come clean now. You gotta make a decision now. You're gonna change the way you live. And every day you have to say, well, man, I gotta clean this up. Yes, sir. I gotta clean this up. And you have to acknowledge where you went wrong. And look at the standard of what is right and then try to measure up. The Day of Atonement is that period of grace. I don't mean to be so emotional, you know, but I'm hurting inside because I realize now that nothing that I say is going to make you better. And so there's no sense in talking to you anymore. Because you want entertainment. You don't want right. You want to be able to point to white folks, them devils, but you don't want to look at yourself. You're giving each other hell every day. You're slandering each other, lying on each other, gossiping on each other, messing in each other's families. You're doing all kinds of crap. And you don't want to change. I'm a Muslim. The hell you are. I'm a Christian. When? Who says so? We're going to have to make it right. And God is not going to accept nothing less. You can't proposition him. You can't come and look, God, let's make a deal. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. He said, hell no. It's unconditional surrender. Either you do, or I'm going to kill you. And you know what? Do you know what? You don't deserve to live on God's earth in his universe and don't want to respect the architect of your life and this universe. He won't rest until every disbeliever is off the face of the earth. Ain't got nothing to do with color. So don't think blackness is going to save you. Otherwise, Al Jolson might have made it. Al Jolson is the Jewish fella that used to make his face black and get out on one knee singing Mammy. Oh, you can paint your face black or white. It ain't about your color, baby. It's about the quality of your faith, your heart, and your willingness to make a change in your life. I'm really here today to appeal to us and to plead with you. Try and save yourself. Try and save yourself. Because some stuff is about to go down, and I'd like to tell you what it is, and then I'm through. You see, for people to say to Farrakhan that you didn't observe the Day of Atonement, if you didn't observe it on the day that the scriptures of the Old Testament say, you don't quite understand. You're doing by me the same thing that the old legalists among the Jews did by Jesus. And really, you don't really understand your book. We are here to fulfill it. The day of judgment is not a 24-hour period. It has to do with a time when God's decision against all of this world comes down and he begins to work to burn it. And the fire has already started, but it will culminate in a literal fire. I want you to please hear me. The word of truth is like the fire of the sun. When it strikes, it starts burning. So really the truth itself is burning up the institutions, the lies, the world. It started a fire in you. You may not want to act right, but the fire is burning. When you know the truth, man, you're responsible. You can't play no game with God like you didn't hear. Because ain't one of you, including these little young people that's in here today, and I want you to know that God don't give a damn about how young you are. He will kill you with your young behind. Did you hear me? So don't you think because you're a child, you got some way that you can say, well, I was a child. Hell no. This book, Quran, and the Bible say he takes you in the cradle. You don't care nothing about your youth. We don't have a different law for old people and another one for young people. It's one law for all. And either you're going to live by it or you're going to die by it, but that's your decision. He kills children, as you soon will see. Ain't no hiding place for nobody. Not the preacher of the word, nor the hearers of the word. Ain't no hiding place. Now this last 6 that deals with grace. See, grace is when God renders a decision against a people, a nation, and a world where evil is such that God has found that that people or nation is wanting, and he determines to destroy that people, that nation, and that world. Then he raises from among the people an apostle, a messenger, a prophet, to make that people aware of his judgment and his intentions. Then he gives the people time to recognize their own evil, atone, repent, and to plead for his forgiveness. And if there is no change, then even before that, after he sends the messenger, listen, he seizes the nation, the people, with distress and affliction to let you know that there's something powerful coming. He hits you and he takes it up off you. Every one of you is getting something right now. You may not even know what's happening in your life, but he strikes at you with distress and affliction to help you to humble yourself to the word that you've already heard, to help you make the right decision. See, you know what the right decision is. You said, come on and submit, but you keep playing with God. I'll wait. I'll come back next week. I'll come back next year. I'll come back next month. You may not live till next month. So grace is a manifestation of favor by a superior. It's mercy, it's clemency, it's pardon, it's favor shown in granting delay or temporary immunity from destruction. Here's God sending you his intention. I'm going to kill you. And then he delays it. Oh, man. What a merciful God. I mean, just think about it. We didn't do anything to deserve his mercy, but out of his love and his own nature, he pronounces the doom, then he delays it to give you time to make up your mind and to give your oppressor time to repent and change before he kills both. Now, how is this going to happen? Now, my dear brothers and sisters, the reason I came today is because I wanted you to know that the chastisement of God has entered America, and it will begin to afflict each and every home. Each and every family will be affected. And this chastisement or chastening is because God loves you. And you playing with him. And he wants to strike you to let you know that he can strike you. And I mean, God is so powerful, he strikes you from which you don't expect it. And the chastisement that we're going to suffer starts with grief. Grief over loss. Now look at you. Some of you tonight, we heard on the news the other day of a beautiful young 17 or 18-year-old girl on her way home. She stopped by a telephone booth to make a call. She was only 200 feet from her house. And there was some people driving, shooting, and her beautiful life was snuffed out. Everybody says she was a good girl. Grief has entered into that home. See, God sometimes uses the good to show the wicked that if you take the good, what chance do you have if you don't change? I read in the paper the other day, a man on the far south side owned a store. That man had the money, proceeds, and he had it in a bag, and I guess he was putting it in the trunk of his car. And two of our brothers, black men, went to rob him. They could have taken the money, but they killed him. A man with a family. But they don't care. They're cold. They're heartless. Every day you hear stories like this. Some of them make the news and others don't make the news at all. But it's happening, and grief is now coming into the homes. You have a beautiful son, a beautiful daughter, all of a sudden you find them on crack. And you gotta handle your cracked son or your cracked daughter, and all the lies that they tell, and the things that they do, and the things that they steal and take to keep their habit up. Here are preachers in the pulpit preaching the word of God and then slipping out, getting coke. Doctors and dentists, people of high station, working in your mouth and coking, working on your head and coking. What's happening to you? See? You really are playing with your life. And you know what? When I heard about that little girl, and I read the paper about that poor brother, I said to myself, I'm through. I'm through teaching these people. I'm going to ask God to bring his wrath down. I'd rather see you dead than to see you continue like you are. And if God will whip you and make you better, then the prayers of the righteous will have availed much. But you know, whenever a servant of God, and I am one, stands in front of you, he stands between you and God's chastisement. You really don't know who I am. And I don't bother to talk like this. But damn it, I am telling you, man, you're not going to play with me. God is going to kill you. Look, man, woman, boy, girl, Aaron, the priest of Moses, stood between Jehovah and the chastisement of the people. Moses was the go-between. Jesus, Muhammad, these men of God stand there calling you to change and delaying God's wrath. These men are the grace of God to you. But when you reject the man and then plot to kill that which is your grace, then to hell with you. Kill them all. Ain't no sense in breaking down, because hell, I want you to understand what you're into. I really didn't come here today to do nothing but make you aware of God's aim and what he will do to you if you don't change, or me, or us. Some of you, you say you love your children, but you're liars. You don't love your children the way you act, because you're sentencing your children to death by your own foolishness. If you love your children, you would strive to be right. If you love your children, you would try to set a better example for them. If you love your children, you would be careful what you say and what you do. My dear family, the Bible says that this grief that God is going to bring as chastisement, it will be such that when day comes, you wish it was night. And when night comes, you will wish it was day. And it said you will be in such a bad state that you will want to die. And yet death will flee from you. God is going to hold you in it, won't let you die until he's ready to take you out. You're going to see people barking like dogs. I have some notes that I took. I'm going to give you the year in a minute. From the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when I was his minister in Boston, as I was just made his minister in New York, September 26th, 1965, before many of you were born. And in these notes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad lays out the destruction. And then he told us, don't teach it. Because if you teach it, the enemy will kill you outright. But it's time now. And I really don't care what the enemy wants to do to me. So I'm going to tell it all today. And if you can take it, these are notes that are 30 years old. 65, 96, 31 years from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want you to hear me. He said, America is a preserved area. No foreign nation will destroy America lest they get the credit. God will do it himself. He said America is number one on God's list to be destroyed. He talked about the four beasts: America, England, Germany, Italy. These are four white nations that have acted with great wickedness against the darker people of the world. Bear with me. He says the more you fight against Elijah, the more Allah makes perfect the work of Elijah. And that's the same with me. The more they fight me, the more God makes perfect his work through me. He said, we will make the truth so plain that a fool will find it hard to err. You're not able to make the truth other than simple, because a simple, educated man will be speaking it. Elijah Muhammad was a simple man, and he made the truth simple. I have a little bit more education, but I'm still a simple, plain teacher. He said, my will and his will are alike. And I believe that that goes right to me. And he said he wants every no good disbeliever off the face of the earth. He said after this, America will never rise to be an independent nation again. She won't have the power that she had last year, meaning every year from then her power would be diminished. And if you watch America, there was a time when she would fight you herself. When she jumped into Vietnam and they beat her up, from that day, whenever a fight comes, she tries to gather a lot of people, except she's fighting Panama or Grenada or some little small place. He said America is gone. Her money is gone. There's no more silver, no more gold. After a while, she may ask for copper. The money is worthless. Right now, the money has no value. This used to be a silver certificate that used to say, pay the bearer on demand $1 in silver. You can't get silver for it anymore. You can't get gold for it. It is the wealth of the country that's holding up the dollar. Streets. There will be another medium of exchange not coming from this country. He said, I warn you because I love you. Now listen to these words. She will fight and continue to fight. He mentioned Vietnam and other areas of Asia. But the last fight will be in East Germany, and there she will be destroyed. Now I want you to stop with me a minute. I want to talk about East Germany. Y'all all right? You think East Germany and West Germany have united? They broke the wall down, but they're not united. East Germany has been 40 years under the communists, and West Germany has been 40 years under American and Western democracy. And these are apples and oranges, and it's very difficult to produce the integration. And if you look at America, your president, Lincoln, your President Clinton went all out for Perez in Israel. But the people in Israel rejected Perez and voted for Netanyahu. Netanyahu comes in, listen, and he says, quote, "There will never be a divided Jerusalem. Jerusalem will forever be the capital of Israel." Arafat says, "We want a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as the capital." Arafat and Netanyahu says, "Ever." Netanyahu says, "No more trading land for peace." So the words of Farrakhan now come back. Israel has not had any peace in 40 years, and she will never have any peace. Now, Jerusalem again will soon be surrounded by armies. And what does the scripture say? When Jerusalem is surrounded with armies, know that the end has come. He says, if you look at Germany and you look at Russia, next Sunday there will be an election in Russia. America has sent billions of dollars over to Russia to make sure that Boris Yeltsin wins the election. He may win, he may not win, but the communists are rising again, and they are sick of this Western style democracy and capitalism. And the hardliners that are rising want the return of the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, you see a breakup of the so-called Soviet Union and all of these tribes, if you want to call them that, the Croats, the Serbs, the Chechens, the Georgians. They're all at odds with each other, and this conflagration is soon going to spread into Europe. Now, many of you that were in the armed forces in Europe, when they broke the power of the Soviet Union, they called many of you out of Europe back to America, you that were in the army, and you don't have any job. But soon they're going to ask you to go back to Europe. I wouldn't do it if I were you. Oh, I want you to hear me now. You can do what you want to do. But if I were you, I'd get out of the army. You didn't hear me. Because I know you think that's your only employment. I said if I were you, I'd get out of that thing. Because what the enemy intends to do is use your bodies to keep him propped up. And you will be killed this time. You're not going to make it. They got something planned for her. Let me tell you more. The messenger said, you will go away in the thousands, and you will return in the tens. And when you return, there'll be no such thing as an American government. This thing is going. I'm saying it now, and it's recorded. You can get it. Because I don't care where you publish it. But every word you're going to face. He said, all of America's possessions will be taken one by one, and all her fortifications will be destroyed. Her great armies poured into Asia and Europe will not return. You got some sons? You better tell them to learn how to reject a call from the president. Because if you obey him rather than God, it's over. Look at this now. He said, in the South Pacific, the white man will be driven out soon. Now go look in Asia now. The fastest growing economy in the world is where? Asia. Japan was broken. Japan is back. America is saying, look, we can't continue to bear the burden of protection for this area. You must do something. Japan says, yes. Japan was the greatest shipbuilding nation in the world. They never wanted her to become militarily strong again, but now they need her. So she's building her army now. She's building her navy now. And shiploads of uranium was sent to Japan. I mean, loads of it. And she said, oh, she's just going to build for atomic energy. You can believe it if you want to. She has never forgotten. China is up. China is not playing. See, whenever America says something about China should do so and so, China, you watch China. She blasts back. Woof, 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 woof. America say woof, woof. China say woof, woof, woof. Because the Chinese got 1,250,000,000, and they could lose the whole population of America and still have 1 billion left. The Koreans, oh, look at them if you want to. The brown man and the yellow man coming, baby. You can hang with Whitey if you want to. But won't be nobody over there this time telling you same. You should have got that message. They will take you off this planet, brother. You will see them soon move throughout Asia. They'll take him out of Australia and out of New Zealand and out of the islands of the Pacific. His day is over. His day is done. The messenger said the Islamic world will be the ruler. We are the people to rule in the next world. And that's why they are so afraid of Islam. It ain't that we are crazy fundamentalist people riding around with bombs. But Jesus was a Muslim. Moses and the prophets were Muslims. They all submitted their will to do the will of God. Islam is coming whether you want it or not. It will conquer the hearts and minds of the people not with a sword, but because it's truth. He said Turkey is going to emerge. And I was in Turkey. And I heard some talk. I ain't going to tell you what I heard. But I'll tell you what you should know. will emerge. France is going to turn heels. She won't be with England and America. And he said that England is going to trick America into war. Boy, 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 boy. He said white America will be destroyed mercilessly. Not even your own brother or sister will show mercy on you, meaning America. He said it's not 40 years away. It's not 40 months. He said preparation is being made to take her right now. Allah wants to save you. But our people don't want to be saved unless you save white people. Listen. He said, white people are asking today, can we be saved? Can we be Muslims? He said there was a white woman in the house on 47 South Woodlawn that Friday night, and she asked, can't some of us be saved? See? White folk got more sense than you. When they hear this message, they know it's coming. They've been knowing it's coming. And white folk will beat you to the mosque if I let them in. We have to go and beg you. Will you come to the mosque, brother? If I sent word out next week that I'm teaching and all white people could come, you better get here early. Because there are white people who know that the end is in sight, and all they want to know is, can they be saved? And I'm going to tell you something, sisters. That's why white men are hitting on you so tough. You don't know what they're thinking. You think these white people really love you, don't you? They can talk so nice, can't they? Don't they talk better than we do to you? Don't they make it sound so sweet? Hello, Sadie. Sadie, you so cute. Let me open the door for you, Sadie. You know what they want? They want to get you pregnant so that their seed will see the hereafter. And you walking around carrying white men's babies. And you don't even know that they say, I made it in the hereafter. I know my time is up. I've mixed my blood with her, and I'll make it in the hereafter. Dumb woman. Wait a minute. You ain't so smart. I'm almost there, brothers and sisters. A scarlet beast carrying a woman in purple. A harlot. He's been working on his woman since she got out the caves. If you had seen her in the caves, you wouldn't even ask your dogs to go by there. But he worked on her. I mean, he worked on her. She's ready now. She before you on the television with her little thin self. Why you just fat? Don't know where you going with yourself. You just going out of the picture. We have to have 2 cameras to take 1 picture. You beginning to look like the nutty professor. While the white woman is in the gym on the treadmill. She all in wrinkled. But she keeping that body fine so she can trap a fool.
Thanks for viewing, you all. And on your way out, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and the word all to ensure that you will get notifications when I upload videos on YOUTUBE. Also, press those condiments, the like and the share. Share the information with relatives, friends, co-workers, anyone that you come into contact with. It is a magnificent way to jumpstart your conversation. Peace out and never give up on your DREAMS.